Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming. The public really has no idea. The state of California leaves thousands of lifers out onto the streets. They have no idea. These regulations were never debated in the legislature. They were never approved by the California voters. Instead, they were created by unelected bureaucrats at the Board of Parole Hearings, an administrative agency whose job is to carry out the law, not rewrite it. The board now wants to create an entirely new process that can allow some of California's most violent offenders to seek sentence reductions or commutations decades after judges impose their sentences and victims' families were promised finality. That is a decision of enormous public importance, and it belongs to the legislature and the people of California, not an administrative agency acting on its own. The Board of Parole Hearings needs to be put in check and stop letting these dangerous individuals out. The sheriff of Sacramento County, I've seen firsthand the devastation violent criminals leave behind. I stood with families whose lives were forever changed by murder, and I know that when a judge pronounces a sentence of life without parole, the possibility of parole, those families believe those words mean exactly what they say. In California, they don't. They should be able to rely on that promise. Unfortunately, this is the same Board of Parole Hearings that made decisions that have shaken public confidence before. David Funston was a serial child predator who repeatedly preyed on young children. The sheriff's office arrested Mr. Funston and prosecuted all 8 cases, 7 girls and 1 boy. Ages horrific Funston did to them. That parole board has access to those reports, the same reports I read and I was horrified by. Mr. Funston's interview in prison talks about still fantasizing about children. Where is the disconnect? Where's your moral compass at? Despite the extraordinary danger he posed, the board granted him parole. Cases like that remind us why public confidence in these decisions matters. Now that same agency is attempting to create a new administrative pathway affecting offenders serving California's longest and most serious sentences. That should concern every Californian. Mr. Funston, over 300 years. But you know what? He was over 50 and he served over 20 years. Unbelievable. This isn't about politics. This isn't about ideology. It's about who gets to make California law. In our system of government, the legislature, which I was part of, writes the laws, the courts impose the sentences, and the administrative agencies follow these laws. They do not create entirely new sentencing pathways because they believe they know better. Victims were promised justice. The public was promised accountability. Those promises should not be undone by regulation and not law. They should only be changed, if at all, by the elected representatives of the people of California. You've heard the stories time and time again. The public's fed up with this. Let's put victims first, because far too long, victims have taken a backseat to these predators, rapists, and murderers. Let's change the narrative on this and take back California.